Welcome back to Moms Get Real. I'm Juju Chang in New York. Still with me is Rami Lasali of TrueMomConfessions.com. And with us today is Lee Woodruff, the one and only author of Perfectly Imperfect. And we're talking about holiday spoils, which is a term that Stephanie, your friend, Rami, right, wrote an article about?
Right. Yeah, she wrote it in Mommy Tract, all about sort of bringing her own baggage into the holidays. And again, the topic was, do we buy everything on the list to make them happy, or really is it to make us happy?
Right. So you're a moderate. Clearly, Lee and I are Grinches. But here to break it all down for us is Betsy Brown Braun. She's a child development and behavioral specialist, as well as the author of Just Tell Me What to Say. Welcome, Betsy.
Thank you.
Do you find that more moms are struggling with this in this era of historically bad economy?
You know, I think not only more moms are struggling, but more dads are struggling. You'd be astounded at how many people are confronted with the same issue of kids being spoiled at the holidays, parents feeling guilty about not giving enough, feeling guilty about giving too much. And this issue is just ripe with discussion points for us. We turn our children into who they are, and their attitudes about the gimme-gimmes come from us. But at the same time, they can't help it. So there's a developmental perspective, and then there's what we do to them. So the overall picture to this is that we actually can affect a change, and we can actually shape and mold and even brand what the holidays will mean for our kids. We actually have a role that we can play that can be effective.
There's a distinction, though, to be made, isn't there, between you're saying that kids are not born greedy, but they are born egocentric.
Yes, children are. That's a survival technique for children. Children need to be egocentric because that's how they get fed and taken care of. But there comes a point, I would say pretty early on, right around that, 18-month-old stage, when we pluck them out of the center of the universe and we put them in their place along the side with the rest of us. That's very hard for a parent to do. Listen, you know how hard it is to say no to your child when he wants something so badly, but it's our job to teach our children to delay gratification, to tolerate disappointment, to tolerate frustration, and they will only learn to do that if we give them the chance to do that by saying no. I think what Lee said, Lee is my hero when she said she was the Grinch, and you too, Juju, are the Grinch. I think it's teaching children that Grinch is not bad, but not getting angry at them for their Grinchy behaviors, for their response to your Grinchy behaviors, because of course they're going to protest. They are egocentric. They want everything. That's not their fault.
Hey, Lee, do you get mad at your kids when they do that?
I don't, and one of the things I'd like to say, too, and I'm so proud of this, is when I said no to my daughter, she immediately said, okay, I get it. And that made me feel, to your point, Betsy, I felt like, okay, I must be doing something right here, because there is no roadmap to do this. I just know that, I've spent my limit this year for her, and it's really not so much about the presents for her. And I was so thrilled when that was her retort to me.
That's fabulous, because my response from my kids is more like, well, but everybody else has it. Oh my God, you're so mean. How can you say no?
Your kids are younger, though. Your kids are still younger, and she probably would have put up a little more of a fight earlier on.
I wonder, though, it sounds like you have very clear-cut rules. Does that make a difference, Betsy, in how the kids receive that no?
Well, I don't think this is about rules. I think this is about consistency, and I think it's about follow-through, and I think it's about not behaving like you feel guilty. As Rami has said to me before, we bring to our job of parenting, as we've discussed, a lot of baggage, and it's about stuff that happened when we were little, about ghosts in our own nursery. And so when we end up having this feeling like maybe we shouldn't be saying no, then our kids get a mixed message, and that's really what mucks up the whole thing, because clearly Lee says no, she doesn't feel bad about it, she knows that she's doing something that's in her kid's best interest, and the message is pretty clear. When kids see an opening for that, after you say no, when they see an opening for the possibility of yes, they go in for the kill, they play for your sentiments.
Juju, are you a waffler?
I think I am. Clearly.
I'm a waffler too. Betsy, I have a question.
Yes.
How do you course correct? I'm lucky like Lee. My 19-year-old this year did surprise me and say, you know what, Mom, I think I have everything I need. She did then slip in a picture of some boots she might want. But how do you sort of rein it in with your kids after you have overindulged?
First of all, let me just say about your child who slipped in the picture of the boots, or Lee's daughter who wanted the extra present. You go for it, girls.
Yeah.
Good for trying, because if you don't try, for sure you'll never get it. So I like that perseverance, but they also learn to tolerate the response. You know, course correction, Rami, is a really great way to put it. Let me just say one thing about that. The anonymous caller who said she wanted her holidays to be exciting, so she wanted her child to have a lot of presents, I think the course correction has to do with reframing that word exciting. Excitement doesn't only come from receiving presents. There's a tremendous amount of excitement in giving presents, in watching someone's face when he opens the present that's exactly what he wanted. Children don't understand how we as adults feel so excited to give just the right present. And so that's one of the ways we can course correct. When we look at the thrill, by the way, in giving an experience, forget the gift. What about camping out in the backyard with your daddy as a gift? Or what about going for a nature hike with mommy in the mountains as a gift? That's a great thing. Or I believe in sitting down with your kids and talking with them, having them make a list of who are the people you want to give something to. The holidays is a time when we think about other people. So what about that crossing guard at school, or the vegetable lady at the market, or people in your life that you want to share with? Not only can daddy sit down with a child and help the child to make something or write a letter to mommy, you don't necessarily have to go on a shopping spree. It's perfectly okay to make a beautiful picture that you help the child to wrap and give to mommy.
If I used that example, though, I would have been shot by Juju, because she already hates me. She and mommy already have decided that I'm like the perfect parent.
She's the perfect mom.
So,
this is so annoying. I can't even stand it.
Even though he took them to a pottery place this weekend to make something for me, which I know will end up in the garage thrown out.
That is hysterical.
I couldn't admit it.
All right, well, listen, Betsy, I know that you're big on thank you points. I want to thank you for being here. Why are thank you notes so important in your book?
Well, in my book and in the book that I've written and the new book I have coming out, I say that thank you notes are incredibly important, because gratitude, an attitude of gratitude, is cultivated right along with the child's empathy as it grows, and it's something that we need to expect and help our kids and facilitate our kids doing in order for them to be more other-oriented and not so self-oriented, thinking about what somebody else feels and what somebody else went to buy you that perfect pair of Dora underpants that you absolutely hate. They still went to some trouble. By the way, Lee, I just want to say, in my family, the rule was you can't use the gift until you've thanked for it.
Oh, interesting.
In
our house, it's, you can't open the next gift until you've thanked for it. So literally 8 months later, my son still has birthday presents sitting in his corner. He's the only kid I know who's willing to do that.
Regifting fit in here anywhere?
All right, well, thank you guys so much, Lee Woodruff, for your perfection. Thank you very much. And Rami, any closing thoughts?
How about thank you for my imperfection? Well, I think I loved what everybody said. I know Lee has used the term, it's not what's under the tree, it's what's around the tree. And I think I'm really taking all this to heart, that we have to slow down and really help our kids really get the message of giving, because I think a lot of that is done off-site, you know?
Absolutely.
Like, oh, well, you know, we'll send a gift to somebody, but they don't see the receiving, and I think that's what at least I'm going to take away, and I hope others will take away.
Well, I'm glad to have this chat. I think it's really important for kids. Thank you guys so much for being here. And to continue this discussion, you can go to my blog at abcnews.com/Juju, or to Rami's website, truemomconfessions.com. Thanks again to all of our guests today, including Anonymous Mom. We'll see you next time on Moms Get Real.